In today's video, you're going to get to see a whole bunch of beautiful cars at the 2024 Toronto International AutoShow. Hello everybody and welcome to Classic Car ChitChat. My name is Kevin. I am thrilled you're joining me today. I am excited to be here. I am here on Media Day, so you get to see a sneak peek at all the beautiful cars at the show today, including the Tesla Cybertruck, amongst the Jeep and many other cars. On Media Day, the masses of crowds are not here, so we get a little chance to get up close and personal to a lot of these beautiful cars. So, without further ado, let's hop in, let's go for a drive, and let's check out some beautiful cars at the 2024 Toronto International AutoShow. All right, David, tell me what you've got here.
So here we have a beautiful 1980 Lamborghini LP400S. This is owned by Bill out of Toronto, a good friend of mine, great guy who really is a great supporter of Cobble Beach Concours.
Fantastic.
Great car collector. And this is one of his prized cars. This is just an absolute stunning, rare low body, which is without all the air, added kind of vents and wings and spoilers. Much cleaner look, closer to the original when it came out in 74. And this car has a very interesting ownership history. It was originally owned by Sheikh Walid Jafali out of Saudi Arabia. So he's one of the wealthiest sheikhs in Saudi Arabia at the time.
And it's a 6-speed transmission
Yes.
too.
And it's absolutely stunning. It's just refreshed last year. It's got a mere, I believe it's 14,000 kilometers on it. So very low mileage.
Wow.
But I mean, those miles were fun. You have a lot of fun in a car like this. And I mean, when you hear that V12 roar,
Absolutely.
it just absolutely purrs. But I mean, if you look at the windshield there, he's actually got two original stickers on it. So very interesting. Yep, Monte Carlo Beach Hotel. And the other one, I believe, is where is it there? I thought it was the Playboy Club. It might be on the other side. But I mean, this car had floated between Monte Carlo, Saudi Arabia, and I believe London as well, if I'm not mistaken.
It's been around, hasn't it?
It's been around, yes.
But in a good
Europe
way.
In a great way.
It's lovely.
I mean, it's just, this is the pinnacle of 80s European exotics.
This is what people think of when they think
Yeah,
Lamborghini.
this was the
sure.
car on your wall as a
Absolutely.
poster that you just dreamed of. This, the F40,
Yeah,
your highlighted 80s cars.
beautiful.
And I mean, it's just the black with gold wheels, just
Just the contrast, everything.
it's the color combo you had to have.
Definitely. I love it. What's this here?
So this car is very interesting. So a lot of people don't know about this car. So this car is quite unique. This came from the GM Heritage Collection in General Motors in Michigan. So General Motors actually preserves a lot of their classics, a lot of their concepts, prototypes, mules. So this one was made in 1971. It's actually based off of, you'll notice with the window frames, the shape of the window.
Yes,
It's-
it looks vaguely familiar.
Yeah, it started off as a 70.5 Firebird and Trans Am. But Bill Mitchell had a design. He had a lot of power back then, and he didn't drive anything off of the factory line. He always had to have his personal touch, which I don't blame him. I'd be the same way, especially with the resume that he had. And I mean, just all the great designs that came out of him. So he was a huge fan of Ferrari and a friend of Enzo's. So he actually had, I don't know if it was gifted or how he acquired the motor, but it was a 365 GTB 4 motor from a Daytona.
Wow.
And they thought, what do we do with this? And created this cross-border, cross-continent kind of...
It's a blend of everything, isn't it?
It's a great
such
fuse
a
of
fantastic
Americana,
look. Yes.
Italian exotics. So you've got the Italian leather, you've got the more wool net carpeting, you've got the Pegasus logos front and back, which are a little bit more Italian. They look a little bit more like coach-built logos rather than something you'd see on a Pontiac.
But even little touches like that, it's just spectacular.
Absolutely.
I love the wire wheels.
Absolutely,
too.
brand new wire wheels, so what you would see
my.
usually on a Ferrari. And you'll see the front end is reminiscent of a lot of the Ferraris of the late 50s, early 60s, so some of the 250 LMs, the Testarossas, Some of the other 250s as well, like one of the ones that we have in the lineup here.
That's gorgeous.
So just the grill shape.
Beautiful. I love this whole concept. It's a shame they didn't make them into production
Yep.
because it was quite spectacular.
And actually, interesting fact about it too, there's actually 2 motors for this car. So
Really?
when the Daytona motor created slightly more power, of course, Bill Mitchell, also liking motorsports performance, had to have the slightly more powerful motor.
Absolutely.
So that is now in the car, from what I know.
Okay.
The other motor still is in their ownership.
Right on. Gorgeous. And this Shelby.
This is a Shelby GT500 KR, King of the Road.
Yeah.
So this is 1968, rare convertible. You don't see a lot of KRs in a
Never.
convertible.
I've never seen a convertible. It was my
No.
first. Okay.
This is in Highland Green, very traditional color for Mustangs. I mean, made popular by the movie Bullet in '68. So, I mean, this is the iconic color.
Thank you, Steve McQueen.
Yep, exactly. That looks actually a little bit different under the lighting here. Just the lighting
It does.
is really
You're right,
bright.
you're
It
right,
looks a little
does.
brighter.
Yeah.
But I mean, the KR just added the wheels, the 428 Police Interceptor motor, which was rated at a mere 335 horsepower for insurance, but made over 400 horsepower. Otherwise, nobody
Really?
could insure.
That was a thing for insurance purposes?
Yeah. So every car company, especially when you get into the later days of the muscle car, like towards the end of the 60s or early into the 70s, even General Motors did it too, where they made a variant of the GTO called the T37, which had the same power as the GTO, slightly less opted, but didn't have the name, so it was less on insurance. So all the automakers, the big 3, played around with that, so people could still afford their big muscle cars of the era.
Interesting.
And this was one of them as well.
What a strategy.
Absolutely. So really
Very
interesting.
interesting.
But you see in the interior, so you've of course got the Carroll Shelby signature on the headrest there.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the vent visor.
Visor, yeah.
And this was a big thing in the late 60s, mid 60s, late 60s for Ford, was the tilt-away steering column, making it easier to get into the car.
Right.
Because I mean, it's such a large steering wheel as well.
I know, but that's such a cool idea actually when the whole thing tilts like that. Very
But they
clever.
made about 500, I believe it was 519 convertibles in the KR.
Okay.
So quite rare. And I mean, the 428 Police Interceptor motor was great. Later kind of somewhat evolved into the Cobra Jet, the 429.
Do you know, David, how many were in this green color?
I did know, and I can't remember.
Okay. No,
To be honest.
sorry.
I believe it was somewhere in the 30s.
Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful then. What a beast.
So this is owned by Tony Lang, so he is a local collector here in Ontario.
Oh, excellent. Oh,
Great.
from Walkerton.
Yep.
Very good.
Great car collection. And I mean, he's a great guy. He does actually in Walkerton, they do a tour in the summer for charity, a garage tour, and he's one of them.
Excellent.
So if you're ever in Walkerton in the summer,
I think I'm going to make a point of going
keep an
there.
eye open. He's got
For
about
sure.
70 cars,
Wow.
great cars, and he's a great guy. So he is really a big supporter of what we do, and whatever we like from him, he really helps out and
Excellent.
sends it. He's a blessing. He's absolutely wonderful. And he opens his door for charity and for other
Very
car
nice.
enthusiasts. He's one of us. He's an enthusiast as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And another Shelby.
So we have a 66 Shelby Cobra 427 dual quad here. So one of 100 dual quads made that year in the 427 dual quad. So they were quite powerful. So just shy of 500 horsepower from the factory, from Shelby factory, of course. And this one was actually owned originally by a CIA wiretap specialist, I believe out of
What?
St. Louis. Yes.
And I can't even verify that information. It's not like they're going to acknowledge or deny it even. So,
I mean, it's
wow.
not classified anymore, I'm guessing.
Okay. I'll take your word for it,
But
David.
this is Legendary Motor Cars. They did a beautiful restoration on this car once they acquired it from the previous owner who had acquired it from that gentleman in the early to mid 70s. I believe it was close to about 74, 75. Don't quote me on that wrong because I may be off by a year or two. But they did an absolutely perfect restoration on this. This car is stunning. They've really gone through every detail. This is the finest example of a 427 dual quad that you will find.
Everything, the little features,
Well,
the
if you look under the
visors,
hood and-
even. Oh, you name it.
Legendary knows their Shelbys, and
Oh.
I mean they really went above and
Beautiful,
beyond with this
beautiful.
car, and really were absolutely amazing for loaning it to us and letting us
Oh.
showcase it. And this is an absolute testament to the work they do and the love and passion that their staff puts in.
Yes,
They've got
for sure.
a lot of great staff.
But isn't that the key thing, having that love and the passion for
the love,
these
the passion,
cars?
but you also have to have the knowledge.
Yes.
So
true.
the
And
knowledge and the
that's
skill.
a dying art almost,
Yep.
right?
So the
It's,
knowledge and the skill, and they do.
That's lovely.
So testament to them. They're great guys over there.
Everything about this car, like from the shifter,
Mm-hmm.
the seat belts, everything, is so cool, so
Yep.
unique.
I mean, the Shelby Cobra, they're just so iconic. I mean, you're probably the number one car that's kit card
Yes.
I mean,
So many replicas of
I
these.
don't even know
yeah.
how many companies there are now because I think they keep popping up.
Beautiful. It's easy to see why. It's such a.
But it's such an icon.
It's a lovely car. Yeah. And tiny wheels too. What is that? 13-inch or something?
They're probably 15s.
15, really?
I'm just trying to see.
It's hard to see it. I didn't mean you to bend that.
No worries. They're 15s.
15s,
Yep.
okay. Lovely.
But even back then, that would be quite large. A lot of cars
Yes,
didn't
I
have over
suppose.
15-inch.
That's right.
Most of the muscle cars of the era had a 14-inch trim on usually Goodyear polyglass.
Gorgeous.
Bias-ply tires, so.
True enough.
Which, I mean, nowadays, when we have radial tires and better technology, that's a
Yep,
much better way
times
to
have
drive
changed.
a muscle car and performance car. A
Okay,
very
yeah.
beautiful statement of French Art Deco styling.
Wow.
So the 1938 Peugeot 402 Darl'mat Special Sports Roadster, sorry. They made about, I believe it was 50 of them. Originally, there's about 30 remaining. They were made for racing back then.
It's lovely.
Beautiful car. I mean, the French sweeps you can really see going down the line of the hood to the door, even in each kind of quarter panel, front and rear.
Just magnificent.
You really get a lot of the French sweep. And the interesting thing with racing back then, so they actually had to start racing with a windshield.
Oh,
But of course that ruins aerodynamics. So
sure.
what they did, this windshield is actually cranked down.
No.
So it wasn't cheating, but it was kind of a
Yes,
way
it's
around
a way
it.
around it. Where's the crank by any idea? How do you actually
Oh,
pull it up?
Seamus is from Stahl's
Oh.
Museum here.
Crank it up and down.
Yes, I'd love to see it, Seamus. Thank you.
So Stahl's Museum is a great museum in Chesterfield, Michigan. If anybody's ever down there, they have a Chrysler turbine car,
I
a
gotta see
Tucker.
this crank mechanism, sorry.
No problem.
So you just needed a windshield at the start of the race.
How about that? And then you'd put it down.
Put it down as soon as you cross the starting line.
I love it.
It ruined their aerodynamics of the windshield.
Oh, that's just beautiful.
So like David said, they found a loophole.
Yeah. And the very clever way, it's absolutely
So
beautiful.
Seamus there.
Oh,
and of course help us with the crank, the cool party tricks with the car.
I gotta say, this is one of my favorites here. Like
We
it's
had this at
just-
Cobble Beach last year, and
Oh.
it did take quite a few awards. I mean, how can it not? It's very... And I mean, yesterday we had the collector's dinner and such, and you'd even say there's an Easter egg here. It was Valentine's Day, and you have a little bit of a heart shape here.
Yes, you do. I didn't even think of it that way, so very close too. Wow, but I love everything about it. Just the way you got the covers there. And
I mean, the French and the Italians, especially for design, my background's actually in automotive design, and they just really knew what they were doing. They really
Yes.
knew how to create motion while standing still.
it's this sweep, David. Like,
Yes.
how do you not
The
love
iconic
this?
French sweep.
Oh my gosh. And it just flows.
And then the art deco, just with the concentric circles. It's just absolutely iconic and stunning.
Even the little elements like that,
Yes.
like just leaning forward
Yeah.
the way it does.
Not
The
just a regular hood
headlamps.
latch, it's all sculpted.
No, of course you can't have license plates. It'd ruin the car, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So, yeah, who needs those? But I love it.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
stunning.
You
Okay.
also see, sorry, last detail
yeah,
there, the
go
402 in there.
Oh, right on.
So, of course, you'll get the French colors of the flag.
You got it.
Little,
love it.
Little detail to where the car's from.
So what's this? I've never
So
seen
this
this
is
before.
a company that a lot of people won't know about. So early on, I mean, pre World War II, there was a lot of American car companies that are no longer. There's well over 100 car companies that were in existence, and a lot of companies didn't make it much past World War One, but a lot of them didn't make it, or B, a lot of them didn't make it through the Great Depression, of course, which was a big hit on a lot of the automakers,
Right.
which really the big three kind of took out of it, and you get AMC, Nash, all of them got out of that quite unscathed.
Well, Studebaker too, eventually.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So,
But this is a Marmon 16, so this was a luxury automaker. I mean, this is on the levels of Packard, Duesenberg.
Yes.
This is
you can tell it's luxury, though.
it's
Everything
absolutely
about this.
absolutely overbuilt in a great way and absolutely opulent.
Totally.
So I mean, the year this was built, 1932, you're basically on the Great Depression settling in. There's not a lot of great things going on in the U.S. at the time. People don't have the money, and they come out with this beautiful 16-cylinder. 16 cylinder, so it's a Marmon 16 convertible coupe,
It's a smooth car.
bodied by LeBaron. So this is one of 44 made.
Wow, wow, wow.
And I mean, this car, I don't know the cost it was when new, but I mean, 200 horsepower in 1932. That was actually quite a lot.
What's in the back? Is it a rumble seat?
I believe so. So I believe it's a rumble seat. And then
Wow.
on the other side, actually, it's not on this side, you have the pass-through for golf clubs and such in storage. So a lot of cars actually had that.
That's so clever.
A lot of cars that were luxury.
Yes.
Because a lot of them, golfing, croquet, a lot of more opulent sports back then. But I mean, just the craftsmanship in this car. And I mean, you just get the colors too. The colors just
Beautiful.
absolutely jump out.
David, I'm a big fan of two-tone colors, fender skirts, chrome wire wheels. This has a lot of those things
Yep.
right there.
But I mean, even
Just
when you look at,
fabulous.
which was actually what I've noticed with this car too, very unique to a lot of American cars. The grille, a lot of other companies will do even over and above the ornamentation. But this is actually almost Art Deco streamlining, similar to what you'd see almost on a train of the era.
Yes.
Or a concept train.
That's
even.
right, that's right.
So it's a lot of chrome. There's a lot of ornamentation, sculpture in it. But you get up here, it's very streamlined, it's very smooth.
Totally.
There's no emblem built in here, just the hood,
Such a clean
hood
clean
mascot
look.
that's integrated actually.
Oh, it's beautiful. Look at the size of the lamps too,
Yep.
David. And there's never enough chrome on a car.
No.
This is just
And it just really
spectacular.
contrasts the two-tone.
yes.
So, I mean, it's just stunning. And LeBaron body, too, they built such fantastic
But I
coach-built
also
cars.
think too, two-tone cars are gorgeous as they are, but getting the right color combination too, that's a work of art right there.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful, fabulous.
So these two cars are actually owned by the same owner, and he's a great supporter of our Concours
This
as well.
is lovely. A Stutz Bearcat? No,
Super Bearcat.
Super Bearcat.
So, of course, the Stutz Bearcat dominated a lot of racing early on in the teens.
Yes.
And basically the DV32 motor came out, which was a double overhead cam V8. Came out in, I believe it was 29 or 30. Sorry, a vertical eight.
Where was the Marmon made in the U.S.? Do you know? And also the Stutz. Like, were they out of...
The Stutz was Indianapolis.
Okay.
The Marmon, I can't quite recall.
Okay.
But they actually have a Stutz museum still in Stutz factory in
Really?
Indianapolis. It's privately owned now.
It's just lovely.
But this car was interesting, the Super Bearcat. So what they did, they made 20 of these. There's about 10 remaining. This is one of them. And you could either get them aluminum bodied or Wayman fabric bodied, which was essentially vinyl stretched over a frame. But this one's one of the aluminum bodied. And what they're basically shortened
Say
quite a
that
bit.
one more time for me.
Yeah.
Fabric body?
Fabric body, so like a vinyl body stretched over
Wow.
a frame.
So very lightweight.
Yes.
Extremely fast.
Exactly, which a
Wow.
lot of the Europeans did back then for motorsport.
Wow.
So it was derived from that.
Okay.
And this car, I mean, you'll notice, especially when you compare it to the Marmon, and you compare it to a regular DV32 of the era, the Stutz, big, powerful motor, but you'll notice how short it is.
Yeah.
So the
compare-
wheelbase was
yes.
shortened quite a lot. And this is why they only built 20 of them. And I mean, it's just such a short car, and even inside is quite compact.
That's just fantastic.
So it was actually literally a factory hot rod in
It's gorgeous. It absolutely is gorgeous.
1932.
I love the running boards and everything. And what? Even lights there?
Yep.
So you can don't miss a step sort of thing as you walk in and out?
Yep. It's actually a cool factor with it too, which I don't have the owner here, but the front fog lamps, the driving lamps at the front, they actually steer with the steering of the car.
Oh, you've got to love
In
those.
1932.
Wow. Years ahead of its time.
Absolutely.
Just like Studebaker was, I think.
Yep.
Some of the technology that they had was
Yep.
surpassed
So you can
many
see
other
kind of the back
cars.
mechanisms there. So it's
Right.
all mechanical, but they
Beautiful.
steer left and right with the.
As
with
you
the steering
know.
wheel.
It makes perfect sense when you think about it.
I mean, a
Oh.
car like that, factory hot rod, you're going to be driving it.
Yeah.
You're going to be taking the corners.
It's
I mean, you're
nice.
thinking almost Great Gatsby era.
Yeah.
Driving to your house in the Hamptons at night.
Lovely, lovely.
You need your lights to turn around a
You
corner.
do, you do. You
when
got to
you're
see where you go.
Driving your Super Bearcat.
Okay. What do we have here now?
So this here is a 31 Alfa Romeo. This is Zagato bodied, Grand Sport. So they made 76 of these. So this car, absolutely stunning. These really dominated the motorsport scene. I mean, of the 30s, these are absolutely fantastic. I mean, I was
Beautiful.
lucky enough to walk through with Hammond last night, and he was absolutely adoring over this car. I mean, he was with all of them.
Was that his favorite, Richard? Or one of them?
One of them.
Yes.
He had multiple favorites,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I don't blame him, because people ask me my favorite car, I cannot answer that.
Well, that was going to be my next question, but okay.
I mean, I could just say, ask what day of the week.
Yeah, no. Which kid do you
What
love?
special
Which
occasion?
kid do you love the most? Right? I know. But an Ontario car?
Not originally, but it is
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
And they've had it in their collection for quite a while.
Beautiful.
and a great supporter of our concours as well. Great, fantastic collection, and they absolutely help us out and brought this beautiful, beautiful piece of Italian machinery.
It's lovely. When I look at this portion alone, very MGTD-ish when I think about the front end of that car and how it opens out.
Yep. Which, I mean, they were similar. I mean, you saw a lot of the cars back. This was on the cusp of when automotive design was kind of kicking in. It started really in '29 with Harley Earl and GM creating art and color in Detroit, and then everybody else started kind of making production cars designed rather than just built. And a lot of the coach builders did do that before. So Zagato Body was one of them that they didn't just put it together, they didn't just throw it together. They did think about the design and the sweeps and everything.
I have a question.
Sure.
There. On the shifter, what is that little extra lever thing with the hook?
I actually don't know.
Interesting. It's like a lock or almost, or something that prevents. I don't know what it is. It's kind of different.
I'm not sure.
It's like it swings across, and what do you lock it in so nobody can drive it away?
I'm not sure if it's
I
that.
don't know.
You know what? I'll have to ask him about that because I did not
There
look
we
at
go.
that.
We just learned something together. It's something. and
It's
we'll have to
something.
Figure it out.
I was too distracted with the styling of the car last
I
night
bet.
to
And the mere beauty of it. Yes.
overlook
Okay.
that. That's for sure.
That's lovely.
But I mean, these are just absolutely rare cars. They didn't build a lot of them, and you'll see these occasionally at concours and in private collections, and they just absolutely dominate in a lot of events. They're just such a statement, even standing still.
Totally.
And I mean, you go through this in 31, then you go through to the 38 Peugeot, just the styling. It started off with the sweeps here, then they got a little bit further in. But I mean, this was the start of it. This was them big into motorsport.
Marvelous. And this British beast here.
Yep.
This is a Bentley.
Yep, this is a 29 Bentley Speed Six Sport Tour.
Wow.
So beautiful, beautiful car. So Bentley actually dominated Le Mans. I believe it was in 29. Yes, it was 29. So they placed first, second, third, and fourth
Really?
with Bentley blowers. So this
Is it a British racing green, or is it like a heritage? Like what
It
is?
pretty much
do we
is,
know?
yes.
Yeah, this is it.
I don't believe they called it that then, but
No, that was more of a modern term.
it is
I think.
essentially what it's become.
Yeah.
And of course, you'll see here, this is a fabric body, so this is what a lot
Oh,
of them
I
did.
see
So
what
it's,
you're getting
it's a
at.
vinyl.
Right.
And you've got, this is actually a two-row, so a 4-seater, 5-seater. So it does have a back seat, but it's got the tonneau cover over for aerodynamics and to keep the weather out.
Oh my.
But this is just a little sport tour that...
And I love that, what do you call that, a hat, hood?
yes, it would be a racing cap.
Oh, racing cap,
Yep.
yes.
Be racing cap, and then did they have the goggles there too?
About 120 miles per hour. Oh my.
So usually you'd have goggles with it too, because I mean, you might catch some bugs.
Oh, I love everything about it. So mechanical, David. Like, it's just lovely to see.
Just the detail and everything that they did then.
Right.
Nothing was really manufactured. It was all kind of handcrafted.
So I guess to climb in the back, you'd open this up and just hop right in.
Yes, you'd have to unclip the tonneau cover first, then open it up.
Just beauty. Oh my. Very, very nice.
And the fuel tank, of course. And you can see the exhaust tip, quite large. But you actually see...
Oh yeah. That's not what I expected to see. That is enormous.
And a lot of exhaust tips are actually starting to look a little bit like that.
Yeah, nowadays, right?
I mean, even back, they say they started doing stuff like that in the 50s too.
Wow.
You'll see a lot of, especially automakers too, with Harley Earl and Bill Mitchell, they took a lot of inspiration from the classics, the stuff that they really adored and loved, and modernized it and put it on production cars. So you saw tips like that on some of the Cadillac Eldorados of the 50s, and much smaller.
Of course.
And usually they'd be a dual tip, but they'd be somewhat of a harken back to the luxury, the European luxury of the 20s and 30s.
And David, this even has wipers on it too, as small as they are, but they're there
Yep.
with the motor.
They're functional.
Very, very sharp.
I mean, in Britain, you'll need them.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you need a roof as well. And
Yep.
Many days than not. Wow.
Yep. The top will be down on the few days that you could drive it, that they're not raining.
It's gorgeous.
No Canada or no?
Wow. So what would have been this cylinder at the front then?
That I'm not 100% sure. That's on the Bentley blowers. That's where the supercharger would be.
Okay.
This I don't know exactly what that is, so that I'll have to find out.
Okay. But again, I love the workmanship, the coachwork, the straps, everything about it. So unique. Even the mechanicalness of everything, right?
Yep.
Oh,
Of course, you've
wow.
got to have the Union Jack there.
Oh,
so
definitely.
we had the leather straps to hold the hood closed and
Oh, it's
everything.
beautiful.
These were very fast cars for their time.
Yeah. I can see because it's all engine.
Yes.
Like almost half the car is engine.
It's a very large inline six.
Yeah.
The gauges are JJ LeCoultre, the watch company? Or is it a different JJ?
Oh, in here.
That I'm not sure, actually.
I think it's the same logo.
It probably is.
Wow.
I mean, you'll
They've
get
come a
some-
long way, hey? Wow.
I mean, you'll find a lot of similarities between watches and speedometers and such. The mechanics are very similar.
David, do you happen to know what the big handle is there? The wooden? It's not the handbrake's here, so I wonder what that does.
That would be... I
Gotta
thought it was maybe for
control
windshield,
something.
but it's not. I'm just looking for where that goes
It is
to.
different.
I just wonder if it was wipers, but I'm not sure. I don't
Okay.
think so.
I even like the clock. I mean, speaking of clocks and watches, Nikhil, it's got the chronograph clock right in the middle.
Yep.
Same branding.
Same.
Yeah. So I bet you it is. Oh, it's lovely.
I mean, back
David.
then, too, a lot of the speedometers and everything were really designed to. No detail was left untouched.
Completely. Oh my God, how are you, David? Good to see you.
That 928 video.
Oh, it's coming on. I know. Well, hey, what can I say? Yes, why wouldn't it though? It deserves it.
Good answer.
Oh, this is beautiful. David, what can I say? Thank you so much.
Of course.
This has been a real treat looking at all these fabulous cars. It's hard to pick a favorite though, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
I thought I found one and then I looked at the next one and then I saw the one after that and it's like, I don't know.
I mean, for me, I can't really pick my favorites out of here. I like them all. I do go back to the TDF and the Pegasus, actually.
Yes. There's something so unique
The
and
Pegasus,
cool about
actually, if
that.
we want to walk back to it quickly,
Yes.
the hood's open now.
Oh, beautiful.
So if you do want to take a peek,
Yes, I do.
and Fred's there too if you want a few facts about the
Oh,
TDF.
definitely. Just a beautiful, beautiful machine.
I'll take a peek there and then we'll come back over. But yeah, this Ferrari V12 is just something very, very unusual for a Firebird body.
You know what? When I look at this color, when I was young, when I grew up in England, it reminds me of a bicycle that I used to have, and it's just this
Was it a twin?
extra. Oh, it was the same color. It was actually it's the same color. Look at this thing! Wow.
There's your 4.4 liter V12, 365 GTB4 motor.
David,
Ferrari
it's
valve
enough to make a
covers.
grown man cry.
Something very unusual seeing it in a
Let me
Pontiac.
swing around the other way. Yes, it's just this conglomeration of cars in this one vehicle.
So this is a car that doesn't get out a lot, so a lot of people don't know what this car is, and it's just a treat to see it.
No, definitely. And how beautiful. Just lovely. Even the emblem there is very unique. Pegasus right there.
And it harkens back to the coach builders too, especially the Italian coach builders. It's not a
Gorgeous.
Pontiac emblem. It's not a Ferrari emblem.
No? But you see so many of the Camaro, the Trans Am, it's all there.
Yep.
My
You got it
gosh.
completely in the window frame.
Yeah.
So the C pillar is exactly a Trans Am.
Right on.
Doors too, actually.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's not.
I know, and then it changes. It's
Like
like,
completely changes.
just
The
depends
fenders
which
are
way you
different,
look.
Front
for
clip,
sure.
recorders, rear end, all different.
Oh, fabulous.
Rear seat, the interior configuration,
Yeah.
same.
Beautiful.
Just
Gorgeous.
of course covered in Italian leather.
You got it.
And these emblems would have been hand milled at GM Tech Center back then.
Really?
Because these would be one-off emblems on both sides.
Yes.
Because
yes.
of course they don't need to
That's
make
right.
a tool for them. They're not going to make a bunch of them.
So fabulous.
So we are lucky. We have Fred here with his 1957 Ferrari
Okay.
250 TDF.
Wow.
And this car is absolutely outstanding. You've got the Tour de France livery. This car raced in the 1957 Tour de France.
This one actually did.
Yes. And this is just such an iconic car. 250 long wheelbase. Just beautiful, beautiful car. And he's owned it. It's been his family since about 1970. He actually drove it through high school in senior year.
No way.
It was his father's car.
Oh, the most popular kid in school, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And I mean, he, from the story he had told me last night, he had actually asked his father that if he could have it and drive it, but he would restore it to this livery.
Yes.
Because it wasn't in this color when he got it.
Oh, I was going to ask, so what was the original color?
That we'd have to ask him because I'm actually not sure. I wanted to say it was red, but I could be wrong.
But I do like this combination of
Oh,
color.
it's stunning.
Very
I mean,
sharp.
it's such iconic. I mean, the new Tour de France's that they make too are the same color.
I do love it.
I mean, just see the interior, and it's just absolutely
It's
stunning, the leather work.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I mean, it's just...
Oh, just fabulous. And you got to have the wooden steering wheel
Yep.
as well. Oh, and the leather straps
Yep.
there as well. Oh, my.
absolute icon in this car, and he loves driving it. So he, down in St. Louis, will drive it to shows and enjoy it. And I mean, that is what the 250 is about. That's what the Ferrari is about.
But the lines on the car, David, isn't it just extraordinary how she stands
It's motion.
out?
It's in motion when it's standing still.
Yeah, so true. And
But
I
I
love
mean,
the way the
it's-
rear end flares out a bit, just
Yes.
like that.
I mean, when you look down
Very
this angle of
nice.
it, you can really see how the fenders flare out and how the body line, especially at the rear,
Yeah.
comes to a point. It's really a sculpted car. And I
Definitely.
mean, back then it was interesting because these weren't made. There was no tool and dies. These were all hand rolled,
Yeah.
which similar to what Jaguar and everybody did back
True.
then.
Yes,
So they'd
absolutely.
be hand rolled usually over a wood buck.
Gorgeous. How beautiful is this?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact, the history, and the fact he drove it to high school.
Yep. And
Wow.
still drives it and enjoys it.
That's what it's meant to be done.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
I mean, it's sacrilegious not to drive a Ferrari.
I would agree. Yes.
They're made to be driven.
Yes, I think so too. Even the curved rear windshield there, it's just lovely.
Absolutely
Wow,
stunning.
pristine. Okay, and we were hoping to speak
Yeah,
to
Fred.
We're rolling now, yes.
Good afternoon.
How are you, Fred?
I'm fine, thank you. We're pleased to be guests of Cobble Beach Concours and the International Auto Show, here to share a car that has been in our family since 1971.
Now, I heard a rumor that you used to drive this to high school. Is this
I
true,
did on
true story?
occasion, yes.
Wow.
My
Why?
rumors travel fast.
Only the good ones.
Yes.
Wow. Fred, this is extraordinary. So this has been in your family for many, many years.
It came into the United States in '71 in Milwaukee, and we took delivery of it then, returned it to our home, and
What was the original color?
I can tell you that this is the color that the car was wearing when it raced the 1957 Tour de France.
Okay.
It had been wrecked prior to the September start of the Tour de France at the Nürburgring,
Okay.
and there was some body work that was done in the meantime.
And was it a front end damage at that
It was
time?
front end damage on the carousel, as I understand it.
Okay.
And then the actual evening prior to the start of the Tour de France in '57, Francois Picard wrecked it again.
Oh,
And,
okay.
And this would
Just
have
to
been
make sure.
This would be a no-starter collision. A mad dash was made to retrieve parts from Maranello. The body was, the nose was beaten back into a humbled position. The gearbox, the steering gearbox, was forgotten
Wow.
at the France-Italy border, and a taxi cab was sent back to pick up this steering box.
What a
And
story.
and they managed to put the car back together to have it finish number 2 over the entire course.
My God.
From
Wow,
there, it
what a
went
history.
to Argentina in 1958 and raced the 1,000-kilometer race of Buenos Aires, and that competition it finished number 8 overall.
Wow.
Now, we've not done any
Absolutely.
racing with it.
No. Maybe around the block a little
we've-
bit, but yeah.
But
Wow.
we really enjoy it.
I bet.
It's a GT car that Ferrari developed in an attempt to bolster auto sales. Primarily, he had been involved in competition cars, but he realized in order to stay up with the competition, he needed to put together cars that enthusiasts could drive. So this essentially is a GT with enhancements. As an example is the weight configuration. It's an all aluminum body and superleggera at that, so it's thinner and lighter. The interesting component, these large brake drums are also cast aluminum with a steel liner.
Wow.
all to save
Oh,
weight.
they're enormous. Like
They are
their entire size of the rim.
They are.
Wow.
These Weber carburetors are not cast aluminum, they're cast magnesium.
Okay.
Anything to save
Weight.
a half a pound here, a half a pound there.
Extraordinary. What an absolute beauty. Just stunning. Is the door open? Could I take a quick look
You certainly
inside?
can.
I'd love to see the dash and everything. This has all been refinished, like the coachwork in here too?
Everything has been restored as well.
My lord.
And
Just beautiful.
it appears to show 44,000 kilometers. And I can vouch for a few of them.
Okay. Wow, Fred, this is just a work of art. There is something very special about this car.
They didn't want to spend too much time filling a 36-gallon fuel tank. So the typical Le Mans style, where it goes in fast.
Absolutely. You can't mess around, right? You should be on the track. Wow. Just lovely. Oh, she's absolutely beautiful.
We're delighted with it. We're delighted
Thank
to be
you.
here as
Oh,
well.
no, I'm glad you came. I'm glad
Thanks
you
to
were
our
able to talk
friends
about
from
it
Cobble
too.
Beach.
Oh, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. All right, David.
So thank you for joining us here at the Cobble Beach Classics at the 2024 Canadian International Auto Show. Make sure to join us on the weekend of September 13th, 14th, 15th on the shores of Georgian Bay, just north of Owen Sound. We've got our motoring festival and Cobble Beach Concours with cars and coffee, Concours de Lemons, seminars, and of course the Cobble Beach Concours d'Elegance, where you'll see beautiful cars like the
Just
Ferrari
like these.
250 TDF.
Will you be there though, David?
I will be there.
Then we'll definitely have to come. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I appreciate it.